hypocrisy, scandal, corruption, phony, fake. These are words that come to mind when many people think of religion. Why? Because often religious people love to wear their religion on the outside so that they look good in the face of the public, but are inwardly a different person altogether. Yeshua rebuked his peers for this hypocrisy. He has called his people to be pure and holy, set apart to himself. How can learning about the construction of the Ark of the Covenant help us to understand the full implication of Yeshua's teachings against hypocrisy and help us to be disciples who are the real deal? Join me for this teaching as we learn how to avoid the trap of hypocrisy in this week's 5-Minute Torah. Welcome back, Torah Tribe. You're watching the channel that connects disciples of Yeshua to the eternal Torah of God. If you're new to this channel, first let me say a great big welcome. Please take a moment to check out some of my other content and decide if this channel is a good fit for you or not. If it is, then please give us a thumbs up and you might want to subscribe as well. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Terumah, Exodus 25:1 through 27:19, and here are the three things that you need to know about it. Number one, plans for the tabernacle. This week's parsha begins with God telling the children of Israel to build a house for him. It would be a portable house where he would meet with them until they reached the land he had promised them. This temporary dwelling would be called the Mishkan, from the root shakan, which means to dwell. Some people find this Torah portion to be one of the most challenging to make it through, but our enjoyment of the Torah portions really depends on our perspective. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I mentioned something to one of my sons about that week beginning this Torah portion, the portion of Terumah. He just got this big smile across his face. I said, "What's up?" He said, "This is one of my favorite Torah portions." He was probably 16 or 17 at the time. When I asked him why, he said it was because he enjoyed reading about all of the intricacies and details of the tabernacle and how it was to be built. It just goes to show that God put something in the Torah for everyone, and we need to give it a chance to find the particular thing that we are drawn to as we study this monumental revelation he has entrusted us with. Number two, the tabernacle and its furnishings. After letting the children of Israel know that he wanted them to build a holy house for him, God began giving Moses all of the instructions to build the furnishings of the tabernacle. This week's parsha includes the ark that would hold the commandments Moses received from God atop Mount Sinai, the table for the presence of the showbread, and the golden menorah. The instructions for each of these items were given with precision and required the skills of expert artisans to bring them to life. But yet, each of these items would function within the tabernacle and would not be seen by the general public. They would only be seen by the Kohanim, the priests, in their daily duties. The Ark of the Covenant would only be seen once a year and only by the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. So why did they need to be so precise, so intricate, so beautiful? Because of their sanctity and their use. They had to stand apart from the other items that might be similar to them so that they could be holy and serve the most holy God. And number three, the outer courts. The last thing God instructed the children of Israel to build in this week's Torah portion were the bronze or copper altar and the partition that would surround the outer courts of the tabernacle. The bronze altar would be the most used item in the tabernacle courts, with multiple sacrifices being burned on it every single day and throughout the nights. It would constantly need to be stoked and cleaned as well. The partition surrounding the outer courts set the boundary of the workings of the tabernacle and separated it from the common status of everything else that surrounded it.
5 minutes of Torah, 5 minutes of Yeshua, 5 minutes of heavenly bliss. This is what you can expect every time you pick up a copy of a volume of my 5-Minute Torah series. If you're short on time, we've got you covered. Each weekly commentary is designed to be read like a devotion in about 5 minutes or less. It's great for personal study or to spark discussion around your Shabbat table. By picking up a copy of the 5-Minute Torah or any of my other books, you help support this channel. Just use the link in the description box below this video.
This week's Torah commentary is called Lessons from the Holy Ark and comes from my book, 5-Minute Torah, Volume 3. This week's Torah portion begins with a request from the Lord for materials to be used in the construction of the Mishkan, the Holy Tabernacle, as we said previously. It continues with detailed instructions for how the tabernacle and its furnishings should be made. One of these furnishings was central to the tabernacle. It was the Aron, the Holy Ark, about which the Lord instructed Moses, "You shall put into the ark the testimony that I shall give to you." This is Exodus 25:16. He gave Moses specific instructions for making the ark, saying, "They shall make an ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be its length, 1 cubit and a half its breadth, and 1 cubit and a half its height. You shall overlay it with pure gold. Inside and outside shall you overlay it, and you shall make on it a molding of gold all around it." This is Exodus 25:10 and 11. The ark was made of 3 parts. An inside part made of pure gold, a middle part made of acacia wood, and an outer box made of pure gold. All 3 of these came together to make a single unit. Well, it makes sense for the wood to be covered with gold on the outside, but why does it need to be completely encased in gold? Why does the inside of the ark, something that will almost never be seen by any human being, need to be made of pure gold? On a spiritual level, we can learn a very important lesson from this. Our sages tell us that the ark is a reflection of what a person should be. Just as the ark is the same on the inside as it is on the outside, so must a person be. Our inward character should not be different than how we present ourselves outwardly. This was the primary criticism Yeshua launched against some of the Pharisees of his day. "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, that the outside also may be clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness." This is Matthew 23:25 through 28. Hypocrisy is presenting ourselves one way to others while privately being someone else. Yeshua hated hypocrisy. He told his disciples to deal with the inside and let it work its way out, rather than pretending to be righteous outwardly and never dealing with our inner being. This is important because our actions are determined by who we are on the inside. In the same chastisement, Yeshua also deals with how some of the Pharisees were speaking more highly of themselves than they ought, saying, "You brood of vipers, how can you speak good when you are evil? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." Matthew 12:34. He also said, "The good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks." Luke 6:45. Our actions can be motivated out of purity or impurity. Speech is one form of action, and Yeshua says that our speech ultimately reflects the condition of our hearts. Just as the Ark of the Covenant was covered with the same pure gold both on the outside as it was on the inside, disciples of Yeshua should reflect this reality as well. What people see on the outside should reflect what is on the inside. This means that our public lives should be a reflection of our private lives and not a cover-up for them. While we all want others to look at us with some degree of approval and admiration, we should work to develop our character rather than pretend to be someone we're not. Putting on a false front is like covering the outside of the ark with iron pyrite, fool's gold. It may glitter and resemble gold, but sooner or later it will be recognized for what it is and discarded. May we all be a true reflection of our Master Yeshua, both inside and out, a pure and precious treasure that houses the Holy Torah within us. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out my one-word video series right here, where I introduce you to one Hebrew word per episode that could change your life. And if you missed last week's video, Are Gentiles Really Dogs? You can check it out right there. I'll see you again soon with another Messianic insight into the eternal Torah of God. Blessings from Minute Torah.